I love this setup. I'm going to have to copy it. These curtains. I think I'm a true autumn. My hair is the wrong color. But if my hair were my natural color, then it would be even better, I think. Whatever. So I have this thing where I think I'm afraid to dye my hair back to the natural color, which is darker. It's just like dark. It's not even dark brown. It's just like brown. It's not light brown. It's not whatever. So anyway, but I have this thing in my head that because I dyed my hair slightly lighter right after Venus Station Direct, and I have this notion that my hair looks better lighter in my short form videos when I'm like this big. But in the rest of my life, I think it's a weird color. All right, you didn't come here for that. You came here for this week's astrology, which Monday is such a Monday. It's like you wake up and the moon is in Capricorn, so it's very different from Sunday night, all that. Are you one of those people who watches TV? I feel like there are less and less of those people. It's like, never mind. I'm not anymore, but there's no judgment on this, and it's not the kind of judgment that like comes tacitly when someone says there's no judgment. I'm very distracted. So Monday is just all business. And it might not be one of those days when you wake up early. I don't know. It depends on when you're trying to wake up. If you're trying to get up super early, the moon's squaring Neptune, so that might be, or it might be like you want to sleep in and it's difficult, or maybe you're trying to wake somebody else up. Most of the morning, though, feels pretty energetic. Like, it's a Monday, but it's not like a dreary, I mean, it could be, but the moon is sextiling Mars in Scorpio. So the moon in Capricorn sextiling Mars in Scorpio. You might not be at peak health. You might be like having, I'm back on caffeine again. I'm going to get off of it again. It's like that Mark Twain thing about smoking. He's like, quitting smoking is the easiest thing. I've done it hundreds of times. But right now I'm on caffeine. And when I get caffeine outside the home, I get a 6-shot latte made with half and half. And I get that because it's weird. Everybody forgets. Mercury retrograde rules my 7th house. So a lot of the time, like, I absolutely make mistakes. But a lot of times people just don't compute what I'm saying. And it's probably because I'm communicating it badly or I'm not projecting. Sometimes I speak really quietly in public. Anyway, it's that kind of morning. It's like a 6-shot. And I get 6 shots because otherwise a latte is just like all milk. So, I'm standing on business. That's what Monday is. And so you're not, it might not be peak health, but you have the fuel to get shit done. And the evening on Monday is the moon applying to Venus. And it's the moon in Capricorn applying to Venus in Virgo. So you get what you get, and you're going to like it. And you're going to be grateful for it. And Tuesday, hang on a minute. Tuesday is just the moon applying to a square with Mercury and then an opposition with Jupiter in Libra. And I think you would think I am really comfortable right now, but I'm still not. So I think it's a being on camera thing. So I really think this comes down to inner work. It's not my environment. It's me. So, and then we have the moon in Capricorn opposing Jupiter in Cancer, which I'm calling the coffee. It's like the free coffee when you're at work at your retail job. You're here, you get free coffee, like treats are always nice, but treats, like it's nice. Okay, it's nice to get treats, but it's like, would you rather get treats and be at work or not get treats and not be at work? That's kind of like the moon in detriment, opposing and ruling Jupiter in Cancer. But again, it's, you're going to like it. You're going to be grateful for it. I'm not saying that facetiously. I'm saying it to remind myself in case I watch this. Sometimes I watch these. Oh. So there's this painting by a painter named Westerberg. And it's a painting of a girl on a couch. It's one of my favorite paintings in the world. And that's what I'm channeling right now. And you're going to think that's funny if you find that painting, because it's, this is like the sloppy version of that. And never mind. So Wednesday is October 1st. I can't believe it. I'm also just, can I just say, I'm really happy that Mars is in Scorpio, even though I'm recording this early, so I don't know what has happened. It's like way before this week right now. Anyway, Wednesday morning is kind of like your standard business morning, International Standard Business Incorporated morning, with the moon in Capricorn sextiling, well, International Standard Maritime Business Incorporated, with the moon in Capricorn sextiling Saturn and Pisces. And then we get kind of a vibe shift on, it's like a October 1st weird vibe shift in the afternoon when the moon moves into Aquarius. And do you hate it when I just look at my notebook and I don't look at the camera? Are you even, is this like in your pocket? You're not even looking at this anyway? If I knew that, I wish I could, I guess I could take a poll, but I'm a lurker, so I know a lot of you are probably lurkers. And you wouldn't answer my poll anyway. So after the moon moves into Aquarius, the moon sextiles Neptune. And Neptune is still in Aries. So this is like the stuff I won't shut up about, our taste of the future. That was a little too relaxed. I couldn't really think. So the moon in Aquarius, sextiling Neptune in Aries, and how the Aquarius of it all and the Aries stuff that's happening are a part of our future that we shared, our technocratic future. And I think that on Wednesday when that happens, it just gives it like, I think it kind of romanticizes the day in like a tech future way. One example, like a minor example, would be like maybe you watch something and maybe you find something inspiring in your news feed, in your trough of content that is given unto you each day by your digital twin, which is the algorithm, because the algorithm is you. And that's what I think that is. And it just gives the day like a soft glow, like a soft, inspiring glow, maybe. Or it might be like, it could also be like, sorry, hang on. So the astrology that I'm recording this under right now is like, very nitpicky. And there's so much I want to change. And I can't concentrate. So another version of that could be like some sort of need for authority or some sort of like overlord authority thing is like somehow empowered in or thinks it's empowered. Or empowers itself through deception. I've talked way too much about the moon in Aquarius sextiling Neptune and Aries. Also, okay, I'm somewhere else. I used to talk about beauty stuff a lot, and I might start doing that again, but it's just like, it's kind of like, whatever. But I am in a situation where I had to use hand lotion right before I shot this because my hands were like annoyingly dry. And this hand lotion had a smell. And I live a life, I do not use fragrance in anything unless it's very intentional. Incense occasionally. I don't do smelly candles. There are no scents in anything. So when I get an artificial scent, it overpowers my whole life. And I keep smelling this hand lotion. I can't get rid of it. It won't come off. So something interesting happens on October 1st in the afternoon, and you might see this coming Monday and Tuesday. Mercury squares Jupiter. So this is Mercury in Libra squaring Jupiter in Cancer. So it's benefic flavored. It's exalted Jupiter. The moon is in Aquarius, so it's not in detriment anymore. And Venus, however, is in fall. Venus is ruling Mercury. The moon in Aquarius is ruling Jupiter in Cancer. I probably really don't need to go that far out. It's not that deep. So I want to talk about the conjunction, which was on June 7th. So and that was the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction this year was in Gemini, and it was at the very end of Gemini, right before Mercury and Jupiter moved into Cancer. And then the sextile, the opening sextile, was what I talked about a few weeks ago, and that was Mercury in Virgo sextiling Jupiter in Cancer, and making the best of a really good situation. And it was during eclipse season, so subject to a lot of change. So that's something you can like tie together whatever story points were going on in the Mercury and Jupiter ruled parts of your life. And this is kind of like, it's a little more difficult. And Mercury and Jupiter naturally kind of have a square relationship. Rhetorius said something like rationality hates abundance. There's Jupiter wants to give and wants you to win, and Mercury wants to figure it out and take notes and get all the details and communicate that correctly. And Jupiter just, especially in Cancer, just knows. There's like a knowing. There's like an instinctual wind at the sails, or like wave, current, an instinctual jet stream. I don't know. What is it in the ocean? So the square is like, it's like, it's not a kitchen metaphor is not great for this water and air thing, but it's like there are too many cooks in the kitchen, people trying to accomplish the same thing, but in different ways. And then they're butting heads because there's not enough room for the both of us. That's kind of what's going on there. But it could also be good, like if you allow yourself to think big and allow the support, like don't hate abundance. Allow, if you're getting support, sometimes it's annoying when people help you. It took me a really long time to realize that sometimes I thought it was annoying, and like even now, today I was in a hallway and I was carrying a lot of stuff, and I just wanted to like get into a place where I was alone and I could like chill, and all these people around me, like I'm very introverted, so I was getting like cranky from just like other people's innocent, sweet, they're all God's children, like energy. These are all people, going through their own journey. They all have hearts, and just, I was just annoyed by everything because I just wanted to be in the dark and chill. And I was carrying something really big, and I dropped like part of it. I had like several things. And I was like, oh gosh, and there are people coming up behind me, and I just like, I don't even want to be seen. This is all my, these are my idiosyncrasies. And the woman like picked up this big, it was very light, but it was just like big and unwieldy. And she like picked it up from me, and I was so angry. I was like, oh, thank you, that's not necessary. And I did it, like I had a sternness in me that when I like got inside and calmed down for a minute, I was like, what happened to like, why was I so, it was almost like I was mad at her for helping me. Like, how dare you just leave me alone? It might be kind of like that. This Mercury and Libra squaring Jupiter. Mercury's on a roll trying to do something with relationships, trying to start things up, relating or like creating, like mediating, being diplomatic. And Jupiter's just like bursts in like the Kool-Aid man, like Jupiter always does. And it's like, here's, it's Christmas. Christmas has come early. Let me help you. And so something like that. And then also on Wednesday, the moon trines Uranus, still in Gemini, and conjoins Pluto. So there might be, when the moon is with Pluto in the sky, or when the moon is on your Pluto, have you ever paid attention to that? Have you ever had like insane, like doom feeling days where they're like, I think I've talked about this before, where like all the fires of hell are smoldering within you. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be like evil judgment place, Christian hell. But we all have like days when like an inner power wells up from within us, and there's almost like a determination, but there's also like maybe a hint of pessimism when the moon is on your natal Pluto. Look for that. It also depends on your relationship with Pluto in your chart. But the moon also trines Uranus. So there's something with this, like the moon is trining Uranus, Mercury is squaring Jupiter. There's something with like figuring something out, or I heard this story of, because I was looking up something about hexagram 40 in the I Ching, and in the forum, in the forum that I like to read. Do I need to change my position? Do I need better clothes that fit me better? This is like going to the astrology of right this minute is very nitpicky. So everything, I'm like self-aware and like, is that millennial? I don't know. Okay, I was looking up something about hexagram 40 in the I Ching, which I'm considering. I feel like I have to ask I Ching if I should do this. I'm considering offering some sort of like mixed astrology / I Ching thing that's like surprising, but I don't know yet. Anyway, I was looking up something about hexagram 40, and the metaphor that this person used on this forum, she gave a metaphor of like she was in a sewing class and like something was like all knotted and she couldn't get this knot untied. It was like a knot in the stitches, and she brought it to her teacher and was like, I have a knot. What do I do? Do I have to start over or something? And the teacher just like kind of jiggled it and like the knot went away and the stitches were perfect. So Mercury square Jupiter and then Moon trining Uranus in a Mercury ruled sign. Maybe it's something like that. Can you allow something like that? Because what if she didn't ask the teacher and she did just start over and like ripped it up in a rage or something? Or like cut the knot, or I don't know, maybe ask the teacher or ask your grandma for help on Wednesday. Even though there might be some sort of like undermining force going on here too. So I'm not even changing my, okay, I was actually on the right day still. So the end of Wednesday might be like, the end of Wednesday could be like kind of difficult and tense. The moon in Aquarius is squaring Mars in Scorpio. So that's, it might be intense. It might be, I can't think of the word. The only word I can think of is gnarly, and that's not quite what I'm looking for. But there's something like Hellraiser-ish about it. It doesn't have to go all the way there. Like, it doesn't have to be that crazy. But something along those lines. Wednesday night. Especially if you're up late. It's not a day to have like a crazy night out, I don't think. Or maybe it is. Maybe you're into that kind of thing. Thursday is a little more simple and maybe a little more like activating that Mercury square Jupiter situation that happened on Wednesday. It's just, so the moon squared Mars like in the wee hours between Wednesday and Thursday. And then the moon trines the sun. We don't need to talk about that. Or do we? The sun is in fall, in Libra. It's autumn. And when I say, I don't know who, it's probably, there's like 80 people who watch this, maybe. It's probably actually like 20 people. But I don't know where you're at. I don't know who you are. Maybe the algorithm served you this. When I say the sun is in fall, I don't mean that it's autumn. It is autumn. This is where, in astrology, the planets function better or worse in different places in relation to the sun and the earth. And when the sun is in Libra, which is a segment of a, what is that word? Radius? I was a student of the month in geometry and I was really bad at math. and now I study the geometric measurements of the heavens, and I don't know this word, and that's really embarrassing. So when the sun is in what we call Libra, which is not the constellation, it's a segment of the sky. The sky is divided into twelfths, and we call this segment of the sky Libra. There is a constellation called Libra. They're not the same. There are a few different zodiacs depending on who is referring to the zodiac. If an astronomer is referring to the zodiac, they're probably referring to the constellations, which are all different sizes. And we're talking about the sun's relationship with the earth and the correlation with the seasons. So when autumn begins, so after the autumnal equinox, the sun is said to do the least good. And one thing you can see is, like, I used to have this habit in my old place of laying out on my balcony and just like absorbing some sunshine, because as humans we don't get to do that a lot, which is criminal. But in Libra season, the sun was like, it was so weak. It barely shines. So that, if I'm explaining this for a person who's very new here, things mean what they mean in astrology because of what they are. So the sun is very weak at the beginning of autumn. And we could go into that symbolically, but I'm not going to right now, because we're talking about Thursday and Friday. So Thursday night is just the moon trining Mercury. And Mercury is nearing the end of Libra. So we have Mercury at the end of Libra. It's like the moon trines Mercury at 25 Libra. And this is kind of a chaotic part of Libra. It's like there are a lot of plates spinning. And it's about like finding the balance in the chaos. What am I doing? I'm talking about Friday. So you might have kind of on just all day Thursday, that's what the moon is applying to that trine with Mercury in like mid-morning / early afternoon on Friday. So again, it's like another activation of that Mercury just squared Jupiter. So what other things? Moon is the activator of the zodiac, and now it's activating Mercury, which just squared Jupiter. So now you can kind of look and maybe see what that was about. And then that's it. The moon is void for most of Friday. So you take the day off. Do nothing of consequence. Just experience leisure, if you can do that. And the moon was into Pisces at night on Friday. And Friday night might be kind of unsettling. The moon squares Uranus in Gemini immediately. So remember when Jupiter was in Gemini, which was summer of 2024 through this like early June of this year. So like summer to summer, about a year. Every time the moon squared Jupiter, like there was just like Jupiter in Gemini was like suffers from like an excess of muchness. Uranus in Gemini is Jupiter, that was like Jupiter in detriment. So it kind of felt like a year-long Mercury retrograde almost. Jupiter in Gemini is going to be it's like a combination between like the multiplicity, like all the things, all the details, being very curious, being very like activated socially, technologically, in terms of like ideas and messages, gossip. And the moon in Pisces just wants to chill, just wants to chill. So this makes me think of, I mean, this is more of a Jupiter thing though, I guess. I was thinking of like, when I was in college, I went to an art school and it was, anyway, sometimes I would go to parties and they were just like normal college parties. And there was beer pong, which I didn't like to play. I didn't like to play games. I just wanted to chill. So that's like the moon in Pisces squaring something in Gemini. I don't quite know if it's Uranus, but like I'm trying to illustrate this square where like the moon in Pisces wants to chill and dream. And Uranus in Gemini is not going to allow this. There's something, you got to do something. Or somebody else wants something else besides chilling. They want something more dynamic and chatty, or they want you to fix the printer because you're good at it and nobody else can do it. Or they want you to do the thing on the printer where you reset the counter so that the toner still works. But you just want to take a bath. So on Saturday, that's Friday night. And then late Friday night is the moon applying to a trine with Mars. And this is much nicer than the moon's last contact with Mars. So this is the moon in Pisces trining Mars in Scorpio. And Mars is in the sign of its rulership. And the moon has mutual reception with Jupiter. So the Jupiter exalted in Cancer rules the moon. The moon doesn't have any specific type of dignity in Pisces, but like everybody loves a moon in Pisces or any Jupiter ruled moon. It's a benefic ruled moon. So this seems powerful. This seems like late night Wednesday, early in the morning on Saturday. If you wake up early, if you stay up late, there's some sort of like confluence. Something goes well. There's something about like the galaxy brainness of Pisces, excuse me, and the incisive ruthlessness of Mars and Scorpio. That like they match each other's freak or something. Mars and Scorpio can get weird enough for all the or like maybe you can pick out a detail and shoot it to the right place. I like it. And then Saturday night, the moon in Pisces opposes Venus in Virgo. So one benefic, Jupiter, is in great shape and is giving really good things. And Venus moves a little quicker and so changes a little more often. And Venus is at 19 Virgo right now. So Saturday is interesting. It's like an interesting kind of good because you have something really good and like almost like kind of frightening in its effectiveness with the moon in Pisces trining Mars and Scorpio. And then you have like something cute and good with the moon in Pisces opposing Venus in Virgo, which is in fall. So it's like the moon touching a malefic, but horrendously effective. That's what I'm going to call it. There's something about how effective it is that I like. And then the moon touching, did I say the moon touching a malefic? Sometimes I say the wrong word. And then we have the moon making contact with a benefic, and it's like, all right. that was nice, wasn't it? Or like, isn't that nice? Okay, let's move on. And then on Sunday, Sunday morning, like early in the morning, the moon is trining Jupiter. So the moon in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is ruled by the moon. The moon, that seems really nice. Can you get up early and just make a cute brunch for your family or your roommates or just yourself? It's early in the morning, or can you go to a restaurant that early? I don't know. If you're on the East Coast of North America, it's a little later. Sunday morning seems really nice. The rest of the day, however, is the moon applying to a conjunction with Saturn. So there's some discipline involved, or there's like something sad and heavy involved, or like involved. There's a seriousness. It doesn't have to be sad and heavy. Those are just like keywords. So don't. There's a serious though. I think seriousness doesn't always have to be bad. There's just a heaviness to address, so be ready for it. That's most of the day on Sunday. Starts off great, and then like you gotta not put your nose to the grindstone, but like you're swimming against the current maybe or something. And then the moon moves into Aries at night. So the moon is void around dinner time if you're on the West Coast in North America. And then the moon conjoins Neptune again. Or the moon makes contact with Neptune again. Remember in the beginning of the week, the moon sextiled. First the moon squared Neptune, and then it sextiled it. And so this is Neptune in Aries, like I was saying. There's something about the imagery that is being shown to us. And I talked about it last week. The last time Neptune was in Aries was when we got war photography. But it extends to like so much more than crazy things that happen. It's about so much more than like those outlier events that are really insane or traumatizing. It's just about, we all have this little thing that just like puts down so much information into our eyeballs, and I really feel like that has something to do with what Neptune in Aries is also about, because Aries, the sign of Aries, is the metaverse to me. Uranus in Aries was social media. It's like who we are and how we like show and prove who we are is all in the metaverse. And all the stuff going on in Aries has to do with the new, more mandatory metaverse, even though Saturn is temporarily taking a break from Aries for a minute. The last thing that happens on Sunday, late at night, is the moon sextiles. The moon in Aries sextiles Uranus and Gemini. So we get like more taste of that future. More inspiration, more like, it's like motivation. The moon in Aries sextiling Uranus and Gemini seems motivating in like a tech way. Like, do you ever just like wake up and like, whether you drink coffee or not, like your brain is alive and I don't know, I heard a thing that was like, create before you consume. So like maybe you write your morning pages or whatever, or you get some work done, or you don't and you read the news, and that really gets you going. Something like that, but it's at night on Sunday. And next week, we have a shift. Mercury is moving into Scorpio. Mercury is going to station retrograde in Sagittarius and then move back into Scorpio. So we're going to have Mercury in Scorpio extended, like an encore. So that's the beginning of next week. And also the beginning of next week, we have the full moon in Aries. So there's a lot of light being sloshed around this week. There's a lot of light building. And then as soon as we're on the other side of the full moon in Aries and it starts to wane, then we're like officially out of eclipse season. And I'm going to mention this now, even though the full moon is technically on Monday. But when I talk about again, I'm going to talk about this next week. But since it happens basically like right on Monday. I'm just shuffling papers to look busy. So when I talk about a full moon or dark moon, I talk about the full or dark moon that happened 6 months earlier. So we're talking about the full moon in Aries right now. So I would talk about the dark moon 6 months earlier. So we had a dark moon in Aries at the very end of March. That was a solar eclipse. So there's something about this culmination, this like complete like a full moon is like something comes full circle and then is like we're expending the energy after that. Something about this full moon coming up next week on Monday connects back to like the very end of March, Neptune moving into Aries at the very end of this past March, and really like speaks to a whole journey. So it's not only the end of this eclipse season, which is technically a Pisces Virgo thing, but like this particular set of Pisces Virgo eclipses had like a much slower phase in. Like there was a Libra eclipse and there was an Aries eclipse. So this not only goes back to the dark moon in Aries, which was an eclipse, but it goes back all the way to like July of 2023. It speaks to like whatever was going on then. It's really like quite a culmination. So I'm just giving you a little taste of that. And late night on Saturday, the moon also sextiles Pluto. So we get like, just in a more local way, that's in the middle of the night. Just why don't you sleep at night instead? And remember, your Wi-Fi is a camera that can see through walls.